Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a real treat today. We're in the man cave of the great man Ben Smith, the most capped Highlander of all time, current captain. And what is quite ironic about this whole situation, Bender, is the first Highlanders TV that I was ever involved in was filmed with you at this house. And then the last one that I'm filming, and well, your last one as well before you head off and fly the coop, is with you again. So thanks, mate, for joining us once again for what will be something slightly different, which is a sit-down full interview with you, which will be nice.
It's been a good ride, Joey. I remember, I think we got out in our jocks and started hitting golf balls at the front there, and it's been a good few years, really.
It has been, mate. But we're going to start this off right from the start, really. What I want to know is basically talk to me about Ben Smith, the person. I want to know about you. What makes you tick?
Well, he's a bit of a battler, I suppose, Joey. For me, I've always been about family. So over the years, I suppose having kids, as you know, it changes your perspective. So for me, I think what defines me is my family. Obviously, the Highlanders over the last few years, that's been a massive part of my life. And I've been pretty lucky to spend some good experiences with some good mates like yourself, Joey, and I've enjoyed the ride. It's been a hell of a ride.
Now, they talk about the Highlander man, and I know you probably don't think this, but for me, you epitomise what the Highlander man is. Can you just explain a little bit about the values of the Highlander man and what we sort of want to teach guys that come down here, what the Highlander man values are all about?
Yeah, I think someone that, for me, is Nutty Manu, that I thought he sort of lived those values and he showed guys how to live them. And I think it's a bit of old school, really, the values that we try to live. It's hard working, it's being humble, it's having time for others, and I suppose we're in a pretty special place. We've got a great community, so it's giving back to them when we can, interacting with our fans, but I think our point of difference and the Highlander man is about our work ethic and how we go about our work. We enjoy the environment and enjoy playing our footy.
Speaking of enjoyment and enjoying playing footy, for you it all started back in Green Island, not sure what age, but can you sort of talk to us about that club rugby, those early days, what it was like sort of growing up in GI and then playing for the rugby club?
Yeah, I think I was pretty lucky to be born in Dunedin. Obviously, a few people like yourself, Joe, get a wee bit lost, but then they find Dunedin, come down and embrace what the Highlanders is about. So for me, club footy, I felt really lucky to be able to go along and to play rugby out in Green Island. As a youngster, it was about getting out there, and my brother played, who was a few years older, so he was really, he inspired me as a youngster to get out there and give it a crack. So I just think being involved with a club, it's only grown since I was a youngster, and I've enjoyed being associated with Green Island. So
from Green Island, you went from there to, well, you played all through the age groups, then you went to King's High School.
Yep. And
from there, talk me through your King's High School experience.
Yeah, I actually missed out on a couple of rep teams. I went and played for North Otago at one stage. But I think Kings, we had, I think, just great people involved with the school that were coaching. And then, some mates from school. We had some real gems. We had some country guys that had come down, and we had a hostel then. So that really helped. We got, we got to see how they lived and the values that they brought to the school, and I think that's no different to the Highlander man. They'd sort of grown up in the country and they'd sort of lived those sort of values. But I just remember the enjoyment of playing in schools, big games, beating Marlborough boys on an away trip, and
never happened.
Yeah, and then just those memories of spending some good times with mates at school, and there was no pressure to perform. We just wanted to get out there and enjoy it, really. So
from King's High School, you went on a gap year, is that right?
Yep, so I went over to play Colston's Collegiate, Colston Collegiate Old Boys, the OCs. So it was a real mix of people. There was some guys like myself, I think I was 18, and then there was guys that were 40 that just loved the game. yeah, they were holding up a scrum and doing a hell of a job of it. So, and then we enjoyed each other's company on a Saturday night, and yeah, it was just a continuation of, for me, just why I played rugby and why I love the game.
What did you do over there other than obviously play footy? What else did you spend your other time doing?
Yes, I worked at the school.
Awesome.
So yeah, I did a bit of everything really. I helped out with the PE classes. If someone was sick, then I'd jump into a class and help out. And I think the receptionist went away for 15 minutes to go have a lunch break. So I'd go in the reception and just answer phone calls, jot down a couple of notes. Ben from accounts, do the accounts while I was there, and
cooking their books.
Yeah, cooking their books, and just fill gaps when it was needed. So I had a really good time over there.
Oh, awesome! And then so you came back from there back to Dunedin and GI Prems at that stage.
Yeah, so back to Green Island. Started back at uni.
Yep.
So I started doing a PE degree. Got out flatting.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah,
where was your flat?
It was just by Macca's there. I can't actually remember the street now, but it was just like we're about 50 metres from Macca's.
Good
so
diet
you go outside. I think I was about 75 kilos then. So I was allowed to have it. But yeah, you'd go outside and you'd smell it. And the KFC, because that KFC is across the road, you'd smell that. And we also had Hell's Pizza. So yeah, Friday nights were always sorted.
Yeah, nice. And then so the GI Premier experience, like playing Prems back there with those old boys, did you really enjoy that?
Yeah, I enjoyed that because at that time Green Island, so they'd spent, I think they'd had 2 years back in the Premier competition, and Steve Martin, who eventually I ended up getting coached with Otago, he'd managed to get in there and sort that out so that we could have a Prem team. And lucky enough, I was just sort of going in there when that team had been established for a couple of years, and we managed to have a pretty reasonable year for us. We made the quarterfinals, lost to varsity by 3 points, and we were gutted with that. But I think reflecting back, I just had great memories with great mates, and we've got a heritage round for Green Island next weekend. So looking forward to a few of the guys that played in that team are coming back. So
yeah, awesome.
Yeah, it'll be good.
Are there any names in particular that sort of shaped you as a person and a rugby player?
Well, I think Dean Moore, who when I first went out to Green Island to play Premier Rugby, he just sort of took me under his wing, got me along, because I was a halfback then. I sort of played halfback 10, so he got me along. He was a halfback. He got me along and just practiced throwing a few darts before training. And he just showed me what the club was about. And I think at the moment, Green Island's going really well. He's changed how we do things out there, and he's been a massive part of the growth within Green Island Rugby.
Yeah, awesome, mate. Well, I suppose when you were playing that Premier Rugby out there, did you have like thoughts about wanting to be a professional rugby player, wanting to play for Otago? When did that sort of start for you?
Yeah, so I wasn't, to be fair, it was a bit of a long shot. I managed to have a decent season for the Premiers, but I thought it was a bit of a long shot to get a gig, and then I managed to play for Otago Sevens and get a trial for the Highlanders, and it didn't go too bad, and Greg Cooper was the coach of the under-21s. So from there, I got an opportunity to play for Otago. I remember that time, I think my contract might have been worth 5 or 10K, and I was chahooing seeing that contract. I was thinking, Jesus, this is living the dream. I'm getting some money to play a game that I love, and that I'll be doing it anyway for free. It was a dream of mine. So yeah, I just remember talking to Katie about it then, and I think I might have shouted her dinner that night.
Yep. Sweet. So you've made Otago, you're on 10K a year.
Yeah.
Which is probably a day's wage now.
No.
No, we won't talk about that.
I was very grateful for that.
But yeah, of course you were. And you took Katie out for dinner, you're playing for Otago. I suppose for your family, all born, bred Otago, how pumped were they that you'd crack this Otago team, sort of crack the big time, so to speak?
Well, the old man was pretty happy. He got some Otago kit that he could wear along to the games, and I think it was awesome because all my family, all the people I know, being associated with the rugby club, everyone all of a sudden knew I was playing for Otago, got in behind me, and that was just awesome. I felt that support. Unfortunately, the first game I got out there, we got pumped by Wellington by about 70 points. I was playing fullback, and it felt like I was playing ball rush. And there was the likes of I remember Tumbley Ellison. Colesy ran amok that day. He scored 2 tries on debut, I think it was, and I was like, maybe this gig isn't for me. Maybe I'm just not cut out to play professional rugby. The week after I got cut, and then I thought, I better get back to uni or better find a job doing something. So lucky enough, I managed to play a few more games the next year and then get selected from the Highlanders from there.
So you got selected. There's quite a story of how you end up making the Highlanders too. So if you talk us through that, how that all came about.
So what happened is I just, so I was playing Otago Sevens at the time. Then the Highlanders were having an inter-trial game against each other. And they knew I was playing sevens, so they must have seen that for the weekend. They asked if I wanted to just sit on the bench, and if a couple of people got injured, then I might get 5-10 minutes in the inter-trial game. And at the time, Glenn Horton and Craig Clare were the 2 fullbacks on each team, and both of them went down within the first sort of 10 minutes. So the first reserve went on for, I think it was Glenn Horton, and then Craig Clare got injured, and I was looking around like, geez, I could have an opportunity here. Hadn't really played fullback at that stage. I played 9 and 10, and then I just thought, oh well, what a great opportunity. So I got out there. Greg Cooper was the coach. He gave me a bit of a crack with the New Zealand under-21s that year, and from there I managed to sort of have a semi-decent game, and sort of it all just sort of flowed on from there.
So signed you up from there, from the inter-trial pretty much, or were you on like sort of the week contracts?
Well, from there I sort of got into New Zealand under-21s. I got my Otago chance and then gig, and then from there managed to get into the Highlanders. Yeah. Awesome story. And I suppose from there, that's where the real sense of like, geez, this is awesome. I'm representing not only Otago, but Highlanders, the 2 teams that I love. How did that feel for not only yourself, but again, the family? They must have been over the moon. Yeah, well, I suppose for me, like I was 21, 22, so I wasn't like nowadays it's sort of 18, 19-year-olds guys are getting a shot and they're straight into it. So for me, I was a wee bit older. But I just remember my family being pretty pumped up that they'd be able to go along and watch me play. And that's probably, where their love for the game grew because they knew that I was involved and how much I loved being in amongst that team. And it was pretty special, really. I suppose you've got a pretty deep connection with both, really, being... So, like it was... you go back to probably going along to a footy game with me and my old man. We'd watch Otago, we'd watch the Highlanders, and at that stage I just never thought that I'd get an opportunity to play one game, really. So to play a couple for each has worked out really well. A couple, just a couple. There's obviously the Highlanders' history's been peaks and troughs big time, and you've been through a lot of the troughs and the majority of the peaks. So. Can you talk to us about some of those, like that's tougher times in the Landers jersey and in the Landers environment? I think when I first came in the team, we were probably just still establishing how we wanted to play as a team, and I still think we're a tight group, but through different reasons we just couldn't put it out on the park, and I think that actually set us up for the next few years. Those tough times, Jamie Joseph came in. And probably learnt what we needed to improve on. We didn't have a lot of talent, so I remember one of the big things when he first came on board. He was like, right, we haven't got the talent, but we're going to have the work ethic, and we're going to have the people that want to be here and that want to work hard for each other. So it was, as you know, it was a lot of down ups. It was a lot of shit work, really. I was just getting out there and just showing that when times get tough, that you'd always push a wee bit further for your mates, and that's sort of just going to dark places. That's what I found we needed to do, and then when we got into games, we knew that we'd go to dark places and that we could do that for the team, so that was pretty important. So Jake came in 2011. It went pretty well with all that stuff till 2013, and then had a team that was on paper probably should have been at least a semi-final team, and it didn't eventuate. There was a joke going around our mate. 2013? No, 2013.
there was a joke going around, have you met with mate Owen?
Yeah.
Owen
8. Yeah. We
got
to meet him pretty well.
Yeah, we didn't have a great start to the season.
No, we didn't, no.
We were pretty unlucky, but that year was really tough, and then set up what was a transformation of the team over a 2-year period. Can you sort of talk to us about that? Because you were sort of sitting 50-50 as to whether you were going to hang around.
Yeah, well, I don't think I ever could have left. It was a team I loved, and I suppose when things like that, when it gets tough, you want to make sure that you're an influence as to how things can get better. And I think the good thing is a whole lot of people were really honest with the review, what needed to change, how we changed it. And for guys like Jamie, they were really good. They listened, they took everything on board, and then we managed to change. And I think he was a big part of that process.
What was the major change that you needed to see, or that you saw over that next year and then the year after, to obviously ultimately win that championship in 2015?
I think we made it a few changes as far as we set up a bit more of a leadership group, what that looked like and how that ran, and making sure that we got the enjoyment, but then we also played good footy. And I just think because of that review, there was a whole lot of little things that you wouldn't think they were big things if you just looked at them by themselves. But because there was a whole lot of little things we changed, that made a massive difference to our season.
So the Highlanders won their first title in 2015. For a guy like you that had been through so many tough times with this team and been here as a kid and seen what happened in 96, where the Highlanders got tipped up.
Yeah, 99, yeah.
99.
Yeah,
poor history, Joe. 99. And then to see the team win it.
Yeah.
How did that feel for you as a local lad?
You felt it as well. We'd been through a hell of a journey to get to that final, and I think I think we just got on. We were touring, as you know, we were going to Sydney to play the games. We played the final in Wellington, and we actually just started to embrace that. And then winning, it was just this feeling of you beauty. We've come from the bottom to get to where we were was it's something I'll never forget. Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome, mate. So that would probably be the memory in your mind that sticks out the most in your whole career. That moment, winning that title.
Yeah, just because it meant so much to us, I think.
And to the whole community, eh?
Well, yeah, I think
that parade was something.
Geez, I need one of them.
Yeah,
I'm getting them pretty dry, actually.
Yeah. We are doing a lot of talking, mate.
Cheers.
Landers. Just.
So that's better. I just remember the feeling within as you were there, the feeling in that changing room when we'd done a job and everyone was around. I remember Nussie, he was off overseas that year, and it was great to send him off on the right note because he was, Wendell tells a yarn, a real good yarn as he does, but where Nussie had tape from head to toe. And
the eye.
And the eye. So at training, Jake was Nussie was dropping a couple of balls because he was operating with one eye.
I still remember that leadership meeting. We're sitting in there, and Jake, dead set serious, was like, "Nuss, you can't play. You can't play.
I can't
pick
you."
He goes, "You cut this eyelid, trim it." There was no way he was not playing. Eh?
Nah. So he got that tape, and he just straight up. But I suppose that was. That's what those kind of things led us to get out there and perform well, and that was what people wanted to do, to be involved in the team. They were willing to chop an eyelid off to get it done. And I remember copping a bit of stick because the day before there was a captain's meeting, and we sent Nussie along, and they were saying, "Well, you've got two good eyes, and you don't look like that. Why didn't we put you in there?" So I copped a bit of grief for that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, geez, that was good. Now, obviously, gone through all this, and you've so many highs with the team, and now it's come to that next stage of your career. And I suppose we, as fans of the Highlanders, never wanted to see see it come, but you're heading off to France and just sort of set yourself up for retirement, so to speak, Bender. But how tough was that decision? Because I know how much this team means to you.
It was tough. I think you just sort of know when the time's right. I think, like for us, we've got some great guys coming through that will go on and contribute a lot to the Highlanders. So I think I don't want to be sticking around to a point where people are saying, "Geez, he's he needs to move on." So for me, I just felt that the timing was right, and also my family, it'd be great to spend a bit more time with them, go over, experience a new place in France. There's some good Kiwis that are over there, and obviously some good French people involved with the club. So it was a tough decision because at that point I knew I had to give up the dream of playing down here, but I was looking at the bigger picture that I just think the timing was right.
What are you going to miss most about the Highlanders and probably Dunedin, mate? What are you going to miss over the next few years? Obviously, you'll be back.
Yeah, I will be back. I'll definitely be back. I think with any team you miss the banter. Like we do it pretty well down here in Dunedin, and I'll miss the banter and like Banksy getting in on a Monday and everyone just rinsing him. Like I'm going to miss that. And I think I'll miss getting out there. The stadium, that for me is world class. Like playing on there is that's something I'll miss. And then I just think getting out there and playing and actually being trusted by teammates and coaches and stuff like that, just to get out there and do a good job. So like some people see it as pressure, but I actually enjoy that, getting out there and just, I think that's where I probably feel most comfortable, getting out there and just playing the game.
Now we have the most passionate fans in the world down here in Dunedin. They are patriotic. Is there anything you want to say to them before we wrap things up and hook into these tubes?
It's going down pretty well, Joey. No, I just want to thank the fans and supporters really over the last few years. It's been a pretty good journey, and it's all been made better by the support that I've been given over the last few years. It's made things easy, and it's not just me, it's my family, Katie and the kids, and just a big thank you really.
Yeah, awesome, mate. Well, here's to an outstanding career in the Highlanders jersey, and enjoy France and all that it has to offer, mate. Well done, you deserve everything. Well done, mate. Good
Thanks,
on you.
Joseph. Highlanders TV. Hey, tell Highlanders TV.
Over and out. Mm-hmm. Yeah, good stuff.
That's good stuff.
Good on you, mate. Bring it in, mate. We've got to hug it out, surely.
She's bloody been.
Good on you, bud. Love your work.
Mate,
well done, mate. Outstanding.
Good stuff.
That's good.